there was drama again at the Catalunya MotoGP. Ducati bosses were unnerved by Marc Márquez's extraordinary performance and convincing victory in the sprint race. But beneath the euphoria, a harsh reality emerged. Marc Márquez's heart was broken. It was a shocking contrast, victory on one hand and heartache on the other. What's the secret behind this tense drama that left the entire paddock stunned? Let's discuss it. On Saturday afternoon, a roar of cheers erupted from the stands of the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. The 2025 MotoGP sprint race in Spain was one of the most highly anticipated events of the season, due not only to the passionate atmosphere typical of Catalonia, but also to the prospect of witnessing an emotional showdown between two brothers, Marc Márquez and Alex Marquez. However, the drama that unfolded instead turned the atmosphere into heartbreak. Alex, who had led for most of the race, crashed on lap 11. A slight loss of front tyre grip knocked him off the podium, handing Marc Márquez his 8th consecutive victory since the Aragon Grand Prix. It was a new milestone, but not one he could truly celebrate. The sprint began with an almost perfect scenario. Alex, who had broken the circuit record and taken pole position the day before, started confidently from the front. Beside him was Fabio Quartararo, who had rediscovered his competitiveness on his Yamaha. Marc Márquez started from third place on his red Ducati Desmercedesi GP25. When the red lights went out, Alex shot forward to maintain his position. Quartararo tried to make a move, but his path was blocked aggressively. Marc opted for safety in the first corner to avoid an incident. Meanwhile, Fabio Di Giannantonio, who had started in 6th place, immediately moved up to 4th, signalling that he could join the fight for the podium. By the 10th lap, Alex had found his rhythm. He maintained a half-second lead over Quartararo, who continued to push. Marc was in 3rd, seemingly waiting for his moment. The crowd was gripped by the tension. Would this be the first true brother-against-brother duel, or would Quartararo end the Marquez family's dominance? The answer came on lap 11. Alex, who had looked so stable and steady in the lead from the start, suddenly lost grip of his front tyre on a sharp turn. In an instant, his bike slammed into the gravel, leaving a trail of dust and pain. The cheering crowd fell silent, as if time had frozen. In the Gresini Ducati paddock, the mechanics could not believe the tragic outcome for their star rider. This incident changed the course of the race. Marc took the lead. With his characteristic composure, he maintained his pace, controlled the gap, and withstood pressure from Fabio Quartararo, who stayed close behind until the end. Di Gia performed consistently behind them and completed the podium. The final formation of Marc, Quartararo, and Di Gia posted a historic result, but there was no joy. The contrast between victory and sorrow was clear. Despite winning the championship trophy, Marc appeared uninspired. He barely raised his hand as he crossed the finish line, a far cry from his usual emotional celebration. "This victory feels empty," he said in a heavy voice after the race. "I wanted to fight with Alex to the end, not win just because he crashed. It's difficult to celebrate when someone close to me is experiencing such profound disappointment." Meanwhile, Alex slumped back to the paddock. His helmet was off, but his face was grim, barely concealing his disappointment. His eyes were blank, and his body was hunched over, as if every step felt heavy. "I'm disappointed, especially because this is my home race. I led for most of the race, then lost control in a split second. That's racing, sometimes cruel, sometimes unfair," he said softly, adding to the sombre atmosphere in the paddock. Amidst the euphoria of victory, Ducati course boss Gigi Dall'Igna made comments that added a bittersweet note hard to ignore. "Technically, today was fantastic. 8 consecutive sprint wins is an incredible achievement, one that we couldn't have imagined before. But we understand Marc's feelings. He can't be truly happy when his brother crashes. Today is both sweet and bitter," he said gravely. His words reflected the profound dilemma facing Ducati. They had just set a historic record, cementing the Desmercedesi's dominance in modern MotoGP. However, the tragedy on the track rendered the podium, which should have been filled with cheers, silent. The crew could only look at each other, torn between pride in the team's achievement and sadness over their star's grim expression. This situation left Ducati at a difficult crossroads. On the one hand, Marc Márquez achieved a feat that will go down in history. On the other hand, the Catalunya podium atmosphere was filled with deep sadness, recalling the incident that befell Alex Marquez. Euphoria and sorrow mingled, making this moment more than just another victory. Quartararo was satisfied with second place but couldn't hide his respect for Alex's performance. This race truly belonged to Alex. He led well, remained calm, and appeared in control from the beginning. I'm happy to be on the podium, but everyone would have liked to see a duel until the end. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, he said with a mix of relief and disappointment. Meanwhile, Fabio Di Giannantonio was equally emotional. For him, this podium was more than just an ordinary achievement. This is probably one of the most emotional podiums of my career. I'm happy to be here, but when I saw Marc's expression in the parking lot, I could feel the weight of his burden, he said, his eyes welling with tears. Clearly, this wasn't victory he could fully celebrate, he said, his eyes welling with tears. In the stands, thousands of fans stood and applauded for a long time. They seemed to be cheering on the two Marquez brothers, who were experiencing such contrasting moments on the same day. The cheers were not only a celebration of victory, but also a symbolic embrace from the public for the Marquez family. Everyone knew that what unfolded that day was more than just the result of a race. It was an emotional family drama, a rare occurrence in the tough world of MotoGP. But the Catalunya drama didn't stop there. From the KTM paddock, another grave concern loomed. KTM bosses openly admitted their concern that Marc Márquez was holding back. To them, Marc's practice times were too normal. They seemed artificial, as if he wasn't trying hard enough. There was a subtle strategy at play. Marc was holding back so Ducati wouldn't reveal its maximum speed too early. Marquez never reveals all his cards early on. There's a fear that what he's showing is just an illusion. Maybe he's saving his true speed for the main race, said the KTM boss, his face serious. The fear was clearly justified. Marc Márquez has long been known as a master of mental warfare. He can trap his opponents in a false sense of confidence. With his calm demeanour, Marc allows his rivals to feel superior early on, only to shatter their confidence with an even more impressive performance at the crucial moment. Behind Marquez's dominance, Ducati is also struggling with internal issues. Francesco Bagnaia remains mired in a slump. Gigi Dall'Igna has openly criticised Bagnaia, and Davide Tardozzi has pleaded with Marquez to boost Bagnaia's morale by projecting his champion aura. Ironically, Marquez is now expected not only to win, but also to boost his teammates' morale. This is a rare dilemma in MotoGP, a sport that is inherently individual. Eager anticipation surrounds Sunday's main race in Barcelona. Will Marc continue his dominance? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.